Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the podcast mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Welcome to another exciting episode of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am your host, Phil Better, the podcast mogul, and today we have a guest who's revolutionizing the way businesses operate by transforming them into what he calls million-dollar machines. As the founder of MDM, he has built a powerful platform designed to multiply revenue and maximize freedom for entrepreneurs and business owners. By harnessing the potential of systems and automations, he's developed a proven formula that empowers businesses to grow exponentially without sacrificing personal freedom. His mission: to democratize those powerful business transformation tools, making them accessible to all. When he's not helping businesses thrive, you can find him reading, working out, baking challah bread, or spending quality time with his wife in sunny Miami, Florida, hopefully not being too disturbed by those hurricanes that seem to be flying around nowadays. But with that said, let's dive into mindset and systems behind his success as we welcome today's guest, Ernesto. Ernesto, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Phil.
First, right off the bat, you're in sunny Florida. Well, it's not sunny right now, but are you okay? Are you harnessed by the hurricanes that are coming by?
Thank you for asking. I'm okay. My family's okay. We're doing fine in Miami.
All right, good. Just wanted to get that off the way because crazy stuff has been going down in Florida weather-wise, so I wanted to make sure you were fine. But Ernesto, I want to start with the first question: is why did you become an entrepreneur? What made you decide to go down this path?
So I became an entrepreneur because it's the thing I always wanted to do. At 18 years old, I wanted to own 6 restaurants. I wanted to bring people together, have a great time. And I fell victim to the story that our parents wanted us to believe about stability and safety and with a job. And I did all that, and it was great. I learned a lot. I had several jobs. But when in 2020, when the pandemic started, I said, now's my chance to give it a shot. And so go for it.
Good. I'm glad you went for it, because then we wouldn't have this conversation. I wouldn't know about million-dollar machines, which I'm interested in because it's different. Most people are like, oh, here's a blueprint, have fun, go run off with it. You want to actually transform people into machines that make millions of dollars. Now, first of all, how did you come up with that idea to turn people or businesses into million-dollar machines?
I watched a webinar once. It was called the $1 Million Message. It was like a marketing webinar. Mm-hmm. And it hit me one day. What I do is I build machines. I implement technology. This is the work. And it just communicates to people in 3 words.
Or 3 letters even.
Or 3 letters, yeah. We can get to MDM. MDM could mean many things to many people. But there's a huge segment of the population of entrepreneurs and founders that are actually solopreneurs. About 80% of small businesses are actually solopreneurs. 26 million of the 30 million small businesses in America are solopreneurs. And some of them by choice. It's fine, and that's fine. Most of them, though, they don't know how to scale. They don't know how to be more effective or efficient, or they don't know about technology. They have no idea what's possible for them.
Yeah, it's true. Even in the podcasting world, a lot of podcasters don't know about all the amazing automation tools that can help them take their podcast to the next level so they can focus on what's really important. How did you, when you went to this webinar that was doing $1 Million Dreams, pardon me, while you were sitting there, what aspects of your past jobs kind of helped birth the $1 Million Dream, the $1 Million Machine that you were creating? Were you always working in automations and tools, web-based tools, or is it completely new?
No, well, it's definitely not new. I've always been in technology. I've always been in systems. I studied systems engineering in school, and I actually got my start in the restaurant world. As I mentioned, I wanted to own 6 restaurants, but after college, I went into the world as a technologist in restaurants. So I was the person that was connecting the point of sale with the reporting tool, with the inventory tool, with the scheduling tool, so that an owner can understand how does his how does his labor fluctuate with sales during a meal period. What menu items are selling most effectively? Which menu items are most profitable? And using that information to help inform decisions that business owners were making, that restaurant owners were making. And after about 8 years of working in different restaurants and cafes and tech startups for restaurants and family businesses, I said, every small business is just like a restaurant. We are providing a product or a service, hopefully at a level that is 5 stars, that is commanding resells, referrals, and reviews. But business owners they're not thinking like that. They're not thinking in that way of a restaurant owner, of delivering an amazing experience. And so it's a lot of my past that has driven the way that I'm building MDM today.
Love it. When you started out building MDM, I nearly said MDMA there, but MDM, got to remember those crucial letters. What problems kind of did you face going through it? Because you're building a new system in essence, and obviously there's going to be bugs and hiccups. But was there a specific problem that you can remember that really stuck with you, and when you solved it, it was like a weight off your shoulder, and that you're like, okay, now I can go move forward with this.
Yeah. So there's 2 problems. One was for the first almost 2.5 years of the business, I was focused. So it was not always called MDM. It used to be called CPD Advisors, and it used to have a story about bees and honey and how bees create their hive, and that founders need to build their hive more effectively so that they could all cross pollinate. That was like the storyline. That was the core story I was using. And this is the first problem. People weren't resonating with it. And so I was inserting my identity because I wrote a book called Newbie with bees, and I was wrapping my identity into the business and using the story, but it wasn't resonating. But because I was attached to the identity, I was prolonging, like I was stuck. I was holding on to that.
Hmm.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to be rejected. I wanted to be right about the story. And I think many people want to be right about many things. But when they think about the core story that they're telling through their business, that can dramatically shift the results. Because the second that I changed from CPD Advisors to $1 Million Machine, the interest was, forget 180, it was like a 10,000% increase in interest and attention. People want $1 Million Machine. People don't care about CPD or CBD or honey. Like, they don't care about that. They care about $1 Million Machine. And so really thinking about the core story that you're telling is the first problem. The second problem was I was focused more on the features than the benefits. I was so focused on teaching people technology and teaching people systems and teaching people tools and teaching people software. And Phil Better doesn't care about software or Riverside. He doesn't care about that. Phil Better wants to know how he can bring in a VA to quadruple the number of episodes that he can produce.
Pretty much, yeah.
So when I shifted to benefits, people are like, oh, interesting. So those are the two main kind of changes.
Now, when you came to those changes, when you realized those were kind of an issue for you, and like most entrepreneurs, we always have that first iteration, that the alpha version of our product, going into the beta and all that until we release it. And entrepreneurs online, we tend to go from alpha straight to release, even though the alpha may not be the best version of it. Did you have a mentor or a coach who was kind of helping you upgrade to the more palatable, if you will, MDM namesake, the $1 Million Machine? Were you working with someone during that period?
I'm in a group called Brand Builders Group, which is a personal brand strategy firm led by a lovely couple, Rory and AJ Vaden. They are like Hall of Fame speakers, sales trainers. They're great. And I've been in their group for the last 3.5 years, and I've been learning from them. Not directly from the two of them, but I had a strategist, and very helpful. It was really helpful to be in a community of people where we're all kind of doing the same thing, like thinking about what is our personal brand, what are the content pillars, what is the messaging that we are putting out into the world. But it wasn't their responsibility to tell me whether or not CPD was a good or a bad name. They were like, go out there and test. But I would say that in those 3.5 years, it was like instrumental in having someone or being a part of a group. Very helpful.
It's very interesting. I look at your story, and what you're doing is you're seeing the forest overview, the 300-foot view, if you will, of this forest that most of the owners are against, because they don't know what issue or how to create these $1 Million machines. And at the same time, you're stuck in a forest looking at a tree, trying to figure out how to get out. And this brand, this group you were a part of, they were all the eagles flying above, going, no, try this, try that, and giving you the referral to bring you out of the if you will, the trees, the thicket, and so that you could see over the sky.
I tell my clients all the time, I'm a systems consultant, and I'm really good at them, but I'm also a human building my own business. So, we all have as good as we are in our craft, we also need our help. We also need help.
Yes, no, I love that you're showing not only the audience, but also your own clients that, hey, I'm building this business as well, getting better. I want to help you become better because I know this system works. I want to go over, because we are having a great time here, Ernesto, but I want to know, what do you see in the future for yourself? Like, if I snap my fingers, we're 10 years in the future. Where is Ernesto? Where is MD $1 Million Machine? Probably be easier to say now. Where's $1 Million Machine? What are you doing? Are you still with it? Are you on to the next venture? What are you doing in 10 years?
This is going to be my lifetime business. In 10 years from now, I see it being a $10 million company. I've set a 7-year goal for that result, actually. But I see myself speaking and training people around the world in how to use technology to scale their businesses, mentoring, kind of a certification program for other people to help small businesses implement kind of the teachings that we offer. And I see a team of 30 people at MDM.
Love that you have a solid view in 7 years to have this done and be crushing it and staying with your $1 Million Machine dream to help the smaller businesses, because as we all know, they are the actual backbone of the society that we live in, our economic society. With everything you do, you're emphasizing to maximize freedom for entrepreneurs and for business owners. And how can they effectively balance growth with creating more freedom in their personal lives? Like, kind of like an anticipate.
It's like a paradox.
There we go. Let's use a more fancier word, paradox, because the more your business grows, the more time it's going to take of your time. But you're saying, no, we can grow this business, but also give you more time back. How does that work?
Think about a food truck. Everything we do at MDM, we use restaurants as a storytelling tool. So if you're running a food truck, and you're selling hamburgers, and maybe you average 10 customers a day selling hamburgers. You put a post on IG and it goes viral, and now you're getting 100 customers a day. So just because you're getting 100 customers a day doesn't mean you need to be the person sweating over the grill cooking the burgers all the time. But most entrepreneurs operate like that. They're like, no, I must be the one making the burgers. I must be the one editing the podcast videos. I must be the one that is delivering every sales call. They think of it like that because they have their identity wrapped up in that. And in reality, what they could do, it's like, hey, all you have to do is write down the steps to making a great burger. And then we bring someone in and they can make the burger. Write down the steps to editing the podcast episode. We bring someone in and they can edit the podcast episode. Write the steps of a sales call. We'll make that happen. But people don't think like that. They don't think about delegating. They don't think about how do they use automation to actually free up their time. And with using storytelling tools found inside all sorts of different restaurant contexts, stories that we all know and love and connect with, you can actually help someone understand what it means to grow your revenue and grow your freedom.
Speaking of using automation and tools, because that's one of your specialties, and I'm a big fan of automation. I use it to schedule most of my interviews to take some time off of my plate. What tools or softwares, because there's so many of them out there, do you particularly focus on to help budding entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and business owners to alleviate some of their stress or the pressure on them?
So the three tools that I will share that I am devoutly connected to is one, Notion. And Notion it's an organizational thinking tool where you can organize your goals, your relationships, your projects, the tasks that need to get done, marketing calendars. I mean, you could really organize so much of your business on Notion. Other people think of Asana or Monday. I hate those tools. And I think Notion is the best. The second one is a tool called Tally, which most people use Google Forms or Typeform to collect information. I set up Tally, which is a beautiful, simple, dynamic, and powerful form builder that they can use to collect information from people. And the last one is Zapier, which is the automation software that everyone, it's not that everyone knows, but it's the popular one.
If you know that it's the one to use.
If you know, yeah, unless you're a nerd and you use Make. But yeah, Zapier is great. And there's a bunch of other tools. People think that what's the one tool to do it all? There is no one tool. I use 25 tools in my business, and I'm a systems person. I use 25 different ones.
Yeah, just those top three. I can tell you, Notion is. I haven't heard of Tally, but Notion is a game changer. Zapier, I guess I'm a nerd because I use Make, but Zapier was where I first started, and I love it. It's just a little complicated for me because it's not. I like the drag and drop of Make aspect, but Zapier is a fantastic tool. I know I've used it for automations as well, so that's a great tool. Tally, I'm probably going to take a look at because I currently use Google Forms, but I like the idea that I can make it a customizable build. So I may be moving.
I can hook you up with my my podcast templates.
Please, I would love that. Even better. Make my life a little easier there, so I don't have to build from scratch. When you first started, I had 8 questions just pop into my head. I apologize for that, Ernesto. But when you first started, the stress of that first client meeting, where you're selling the idea that you'll be able to help them build that system, that $1 million machine, did you have a huge pit of fear inside of you, or were you just gung-ho ready to go whether they signed or not?
I don't know if it was fear. I also know that my first few clients was like free work, because you do free work so that you can get the testimonials. You do free work so that there's no pressure. You do free work so that if you mess up, or it's like, hey, it's free. It's a lot less pressure, because what's most important in all of this is performing, is doing something, is taking action. Taking action is the most important thing. So whatever you need to do, if someone's listening and they're just starting, like tell the person you'll do it for free. Like figure out what the person needs to just move forward and do it and move forward with them and start delivering fantastic results. Because when that person will say, hey, this was amazing, let me refer you to 4 friends, that's when you can charge. And that's when you know that, like, okay, I'm worth my $2,500 package, or whatever package that you want to charge.
Yeah. And it's also getting to a mind shift, because you have to do a mindset shift into it, because a lot of people may not value what their work, because they're like, oh, it takes me 10 minutes to do this. Why would I charge? And it's obviously we're paying for the knowledge and the implementation. What kind of mind shifts and mindset does a person need to accept automation into their business? And I understand you probably have some late nights. So, but yeah, what is the mind shift, or the shift in their thinking to accept automation when they're a hardcore business owner thinking they have to do it all themselves?
Real simple. In your first year of working, maybe you had 10 clients. Let's use simple numbers. People keep saying they want to grow their business. Let's say in that first year they worked 1,000 hours on client work. Year 2, let's say we have the delusional visionary idea. Oh, I want to triple my client count. I want to get 30 clients. So if it took you 1,000 hours to serve 10 clients, is it going to take you 3,000 hours to serve 30 clients? That's what the math shows. And we don't have 3,000 hours in the year. There's only 2,000 hours in the year. So like, you must think about how can you work smarter, because there just isn't the time. Like, you're going to run out of time.
I love that. Getting that shift in perspective. Like you said, there's only about 2,000 hours in a year. And 3,000 hours would be very hard to get it done. With you talking with clients, like most of them, they want to build this $1 million machine. What is one of the core issues you see people have when wanting to implement your system, or implement the MDM system?
The absolute core issue is that they have 5 different offers, and they're curious and wondering why none of them are working. It's because they're delivering all of them very poorly, instead of using one offer. To build $1 million machine, to make $1 million, you need one offer that generates $10,000 sold to 100 people.
Simple basic math.
And because they have 5 different offers, it's like, oh, but there's 5 columns and 5 different combinations of, oh, but one product's 10, one product's 100, a product's 1,000, the product's 10,000, and then it's the $100,000 product. And the client's going to go like, it's like, no, it's not. You have one product. You are a McDonald's, and you got to sell 100 hamburgers, 100 $10,000 hamburgers that are barely changing from burger to burger.
Yeah, no, just having someone put it so simple, and using restaurant terms on restaurant. I'm pretty sure you're going to open a restaurant to 6 restaurants, because I can just feel your passion for it through the metaphors that you're using and the stories that you're using. And I'm definitely going to be one of your first customers because I'm going to try. I want to see what the system is like for Ernesto made restaurant that makes burgers, probably. But who, if you had to, and you probably already done this, but who is your ideal client? Like, who is that person that if they walk through the door, you're like, that's the person that I want to work with?
The ideal client is someone who has been in business for 2 to 5 years. They have a team of 1 to 5 people, probably contractors, specifically revenue, 200K to 600K. And they're burning out. They're in those years. If they keep working how they're working, which is probably unintelligently, they're gonna burn out. And so it really is like those 3 criteria. And the last criteria I would say is someone who is listening, a digital entrepreneur. A digital entrepreneur, years 2 to 5, 1 to 5 people, and between 200 and 600K in revenue.
I love it. Very simple, very clear. You know who you're wanting to work with. Now I want to know is what you do to invest in yourself, and if you have any suggestions for the audience in investing in themselves to become a better version of themselves.
Well, I definitely invest in community. I mentioned the group that I'm a part of, Brand Builders Group. It's not a free activity, but it is definitely worthwhile. I'm learning, I'm connecting. You're investing in lead gen, you're investing in partnerships. I also I barter services with many different coaches and different people that I work with on different aspects of mindset that help me just move the ball forward across different areas, marketing. Even I have a spirituality coach that helps me like tap into the emotions. And I invest in networking. I invest in meeting people, attending events, because you never know who can introduce you to who.
Very true. Networking is probably one of the biggest benefits of business. And one of the benefits of having a podcast is being able to network with people like yourself, Ernesto, and learn so many interesting different ways of doing businesses and getting the mindset and tips and learning about tools like Tally that can help you take your business to the next level and save some time and make beautiful questionnaires. We are coming up to the end, so I'm going to hit you with one I forgot a second to last question. I had this great word for it. I can't remember it. Where would you, because the audience is probably already like they're sold on automations. Where would you suggest that they start looking at automations? Is there a YouTube channel, a book, or a podcast, or what?
I tell them not to look at automations. Honestly, what a business owner is really good at or can be really good at is spotting the opportunities in their business and creating a vision, saying, hey, I'm at 10 customers, I want to be at 30. And share that vision with people like me or other people. Like, find people and tell them your vision. Because first of all, if you're listening and you're a founder, you're not going to about to binge 15 hours on YouTube to learn Zapier. That's just like not a good use of your time. But I would say, hey, like hit up Ernesto or ask Phil for other automation consultants that you've interviewed and speak to them. And we're going to tell you in 17 seconds the 4 things you need to do. So don't go on YouTube on a rabbit hole and just not getting anything done. Just go find the person who's an expert, ask them what to do, get the 4 bullets. They're going to ask you if you want them to help. Do a pilot project and then build the rest. And then you go find the 30 clients and keep building your business. But don't, we're so obsessed with learning this new like digital world of like, oh, I'm going to take this next course. And you don't need to do that. So don't find a YouTube channel and find an expert and speak to them.
So your advice is find the expert in the automation world and talk with them because they're better. It's a better suit of your time.
if you're still listening to the episode, my advice is hit me up. I will tell you the 5 things you need to do. I will ask you if you want me to do them, and then we will work together. But it's not even about me. Like, find someone in your network that can help you solve that problem fast.
I love it.
And solve the problem and move on.
All right, we're gonna hit the last question here, and then we're gonna allow you to let the audience know, not allow you to get you to tell the audience where they can find you so that they can get those 5 points. But before we do that, what is the advice you would love to give to your 10-year-old self so that you could be better suited for the world that is coming?
I tell my 10-year-old self to keep experimenting and keep being creative with how you do things. And it's okay to fail.
Some great advice. All right, I'm going to jump off stage here, Ernesto. I want you to talk directly to the audience. Tell them where they can find you, connect with you so that they can get those 5 points and, start leveling up their business to create that $1 million machine that they all deserve. The floor, sir, is yours.
Oh, wow. Hello, everyone. If you're still here, I invite you to go to score.yourndm.co. And at that site, you will fill out a 5-question quiz. You will get a scorecard. And if you're interested, we could set up time to speak. I like to make sure that everyone has a plan to reach their future vision of your business. That is score.yourndm.co. See you soon.
I love it. Ernesto, thank you so much for coming into the podcast today and sharing your journey and giving me that new tool to use, as well as maybe some blueprints as well to help me go out. But I want to thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Phil.
To my audience, make sure you check out the show notes down below so that you can connect to Ernesto and get that free scorecard. The show notes will have it all there. And again, I thank you so much for listening. And remember to always invest in yourself. Ernesto, thank you